Ashrei ha'ish.
Reading the words of Psalm 1, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, but his delight is in the Torah of the Lord." Members of the Home for Bible Translators laid a memorial wreath at the bus stop where exactly a week earlier a terrorist bomb took the life of Mary Jean Gardner. The 55-year-old was a Bible translator in the West African nation of Togo, where she translated the New Testament into one of the tribal languages. At the time of her tragic death on March 23rd, she was studying Hebrew in Jerusalem in order to translate the Old Testament into the same African language. 39 others were injured in that terrorist attack. The explosive device detonated next to this phone booth at the precise moment that Mary Jean passed by. A number 74 bus was loading passengers. Mary passed between the bomb and the bus, taking much of the shrapnel. These were her friends at the Home for Bible Translators, headed by Halva Roning.
She was a student at the Hebrew University and stayed at the dormitory operated by the Home for Bible Translators and Scholars in Jerusalem.
And how long had she been here into her visit?
She had been here for 2.5 months, and she had 3 more months yet to go.
It sounds like no greater love has a man than this to lay down their life for their friends. Isn't this what I've heard happen?
Yes, her friend of 37 years was in a tour group from Ireland and was staying at a hotel in Jerusalem. And this friend, Mercia Malcolm, actually an Anglican priest in Belfast, had called her, and they had made arrangements to see each other when they hadn't seen each other for some years. And so normally she would have been in our school van, our transit vehicle, taking her back and forth to the university, and not in a public bus. But she took the bus to a point near here and was just walking by this kiosk and telephone booth on her way to the market to buy a present for her friend, whom she hoped to see in just a matter of a half hour when they hadn't seen each other for some years. So yes, it was this deep friendship of 2 old friends getting together who had been college roommates.
I also understand that there were 3 believers, 2 or 3 on the bus opposite this when the blast went off, and she was standing in between them and the explosion.
Well, there were some children from a believer community that were on the bus, and since she was the one closest to the bomb, it's true she absorbed the blast, and one can easily run the thought that she was ready to meet her Lord, and who knows but what she saved people who are not yet ready to meet the Lord.
And that blast, of course, we see the shrapnel holes on the wall next to you at the kiosk, and obviously was meant to kill and maim as many people as possible.
That's right, I understand, and one can even see from the marks that there were ball bearings in the explosive device with just exactly that intent to kill or maim as many as possible.
Let me ask you, have they caught the perpetrators?
To my knowledge, no, but usually the police are rather quiet about these things as they attempt to catch those who are responsible. And what's interesting is that usually there are 1 or more terrorist organizations happy to take the responsibility, and in this case none have taken responsibility.
Then would it still be considered safe for Christians, believers, to come from the world over to Jerusalem and Israel?
Well, it's the literal truth that more people get killed in traffic accidents than in these type of things by far. So if somebody has courage to go on a public highway, that's all the courage it takes to be able to come on a visit to Israel, where this was an extremely unusual thing, hadn't happened in Jerusalem for years. And so nobody was suspecting, and even when she didn't come home in the evening, we didn't at first suspect something as terrible as this.
And what would you personally like to say maybe to those that are watching and observing this event, how as believers we should respond in our prayers and our hope for the future?
Well, what is amazing is that Mary Gardner was such a quiet and unassuming person and with such a persistence in her character to live for years and years in an African village dedicated to those people, that they would get the Word of God. And so as responses are coming in from all over the world, I would just like to encourage anyone to look at the website of the Home for Bible Translators, where we will put information about her and her story, and just to be encouraged that there are people like her around, not in the spotlight, but God's servants. And of all the people, she's the one chosen to catapult Bible translation into the world media.
So she truly goes into the history books as a martyr for the faith.
I would surely put it that way as well. She wasn't aiming in this way, but has become a tremendous witness, and we just are all the more deeply impacted the more we think and reflect on how God chooses His servants to accomplish His will in spite of whatever other intents to hurt people, to hurt His work.
Mary Jean Gardner will be remembered by many dearly. In Togo, in Israel, and in the United Kingdom, this is Barry Siegel reporting from Jerusalem.